Hello, and welcome to this annual Blessing of Employees. I'm Dawn Vandenberg, Regional Director of Mission Integration for SSM Health. It is my pleasure to be with you today as we look forward to the Christmas season and all the many blessings that it brings. Each year comes with its own set of joys and challenges. Each year pushes and stretches us, moving us to grow in new ways and shed old habits and worldviews. This year has challenged all of us in many ways. Unable to go backward and unsure of going forward. To say the least, this year has been heavy. As we find ourselves inching closer to the blessed Christmas holiday, we look for the dawn. In the stillness and the silence of this special time, we hear the prophecy of Zechariah as a whisper. Blessed be the Lord, the God of Israel, for he has come to his people and set them free. He has raised up for us a mighty Savior, born of the house of his servant David. In the tender compassion of our God, the dawn from on high shall break upon us, to shine on those who dwell in darkness and the shadow of death, and guide to our feet into the way of peace. Consider for a moment the child in the manger. Our Savior does not come in armor. The might of the Savior is in his vulnerability. Now and at the cross, it will be his vulnerability that will show us how to live and how to love. During this sacred time, one that may not look like those of our past, it is the truth and promise of freedom for all of God's people and the support and care of God's tender compassion that breaks over us like the dawn. Let the child in the manger guide our feet past this shadow of death and into the ways of peace. Thank you again for joining us today, and I hope that you enjoy our time together and this special blessing.
Happy Christmas. I am Sister Amy Goll, a chaplain here with Spiritual Care Services. As Dawn pointed out in her opening remarks, celebrating Christmas is particularly challenging in 2020, which has been a year of extreme darkness created by the trifecta of the COVID pandemic, political disunity in the U.S., and further revelation of deep-seated racism. We've been locked down, socially distanced. We have experienced abundant death and discord. Using the word merry doesn't seem to express the sentiment for this season in 2020. Thankfully, the scriptures for the seasons of Advent and Christmas provide comfort and hope that God is with us, both in the darkness and the light. Hear again this verse from Luke's canticle of Zechariah. In the tender compassion of our God, the dawn from on high shall break upon us, to shine on those who dwell in darkness and the shadow of death, and to guide our feet into the way of peace. The Psalms, too, invite us to find protection and comfort in the shadow of the Almighty. In the shadows of darkness, God waits with us. How is God waiting with you in the darkness of this season? We often think of darkness as negative, lacking, or even sinister. Yet, night comes with its own goodness and offers its own gifts. Have you ever gone out for a walk on a cold, clear winter night and looked up? What did you see? When I have taken that walk, I am awed by the vastness of the night sky and the multitude of heavenly bodies, constellations, stars, planets. The shepherds and the wise men in the Christmas scriptures looked at that same dark sky and viewed those bright stars. Christmas cards, artwork, and the manger scenes many of us display in our homes at this time of year illustrate the story. Advent and Christmas carols sing of that night sky, the stars, and the star that led so many to Bethlehem. The stars are God's way of breaking into the darkness, leading all to the fullness of light, being born in God's only Son. Though they have been often clouded over by the amount of suffering experienced in 2020, stars have shone through the darkness. God has been breaking through. As I look back through the year, I see several star moments. The first occurred in the twilight of the pandemic. Fond du Lac's first responders saluted all of us healthcare workers at Agnesian with a drive-by, flashing lights and all. That gesture of support shined God's love to us. Another star moment, which moved me deeply, occurred on ICU with a COVID patient and her family, a scene repeated all too often this year. With the help of staff, the family came to realize it was time to take their loved one off life support. The family stood in the vestibule of the isolation room, separated by glass. The nurse held a phone up to the patient's ear so her husband, son, and daughter could say goodbye. In this dark moment of grief, the nurse's care and compassion reflected God's light to the family. Like the vast multitude of heavenly bodies in a dark sky, star moments have occurred each time an act of loving kindness has taken place. In this dark year, what have been your star moments? Who and what have sustained you, given you hope to carry on? Let us take a moment of silence to remember those who brought forth the light and thank God for them. Let us also pray for the repose of the souls of all those who have died in 2020 and for the comfort of those who mourn them. Mother Teresa has said, "It is Christmas every time you let God love others through you." All of the star moments we have seen in 2020 have been God loving others through the people around them. Christmas celebrates Jesus' birth as the revelation of the mystery of the Incarnation, the radical basis of Christian faith. God and creation are not separate. The human and the divine are eternally linked. This is what we celebrate at Christmas, that the humble child is also the divine one who was present at the creation of the world and who will be the consummation of history at the end of time. The prophet Isaiah, who looks forward to the coming of the Messiah, described the event this way: "The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Upon those who lived in a land of gloom, a light has shone. You have brought them abundant joy and great rejoicing. For a child is born to us, a son given to us. Upon his shoulder dominion rests. They name him Wonder Counselor, God Hero, Father forever, Prince of Peace. His dominion is vast and forever peaceful. Upon David's throne and over his kingdom, by justice and judgment, both now and forever." The scope of Christmas is truly cosmic, but it is also, like the babe in the manger, simple. Christmas comes daily in star moments. Archbishop Desmond Tutu has said, "Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world." Perhaps it is the aggregation of these star moments that heralds Christmas of 2020 with the phenomenon of the Christmas star. For the first time in 800 years, on December 21st, the planets of Jupiter and Saturn will be in alignment. Should you go for a walk on December 21st, look up and recall all of the star moments of 2020, which have revealed the presence of God to you. And when you do, wish yourself and those around you Merry Christmas. While we're not able to bless each of us individually, as we always do in this occasion, I invite you to take this blessing to heart. May the God who is present with us in both the darkness and the light be reborn in us this Christmas.